What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And holy shit, what a PLE for NXT. I believe this was actually the first PLE for NXT. Yeah, the very first PLE for NXT since Stand and Deliver back in April. And holy shit, I said that NXT Battleground was going to make history, and holy shit, did it ever indeed do that. It was one for the record books, one that I believe is going to be talked about for quite some time, and I'm not going to waste any time. I am here for the result and the review of NXT Battleground, and you guys already know how this works. I ain't going to waste any time. Let's get down to business, kicking things off with the ladder match to crown the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion between Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Mi Chin, and of course, Kalani Jordan. Each one of these women had secured their spot by not only qualifying from the NXT Combine, but also by winning their qualified matches over the last several weeks. Obviously, each one of these women had their own unique abilities, I guess, if you will, and this was almost what you would expect from a ladder match. Not gonna lie, it wasn't as impactful. Excuse me, it wasn't as impactful as the ladder match to crown the first ever NXT North American Champion back at NXT TakeOver New Orleans several years ago. It wasn't as impactful as that match was, but this match had its own impact in its own unique way, to say the very least. This was exactly what you would expect from a ladder match. Chaos, bodies being broken, bodies being thrown all over the place, and ladders damn near being broken as we saw all five women, Ruka, Fallon, Jada Parker, Mi Chin, and Kalani Jordan, throwing Lash Legend, who was actually the biggest of all six women, throwing her gut first onto the ladder, and she was out cold. She was out cold. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was nasty. And then it came down to the other five women, and they were just beating the holy hell out of each other, which gave Kalani Jordan the chance to hit Mi Chin with the split leg moonsault, which I believe she called it one of a kind, I believe. Which again hit Mi Chin with it on a ladder, and then she was able to climb the ladder and become the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion. Which, props to her, props to Kalani Jordan. I know that she was one of the women that was being, I wouldn't say was being underappreciated, if you will, but she was being overlooked, if you will. She was being overlooked, and she was being treated as an underrated talent, if you will, over the last several months, especially ever since what was it? I believe Deadline, actually. Let me check my book here. I believe since Deadline. Yeah. Literally, yeah. Ever since NXT Deadline back in December, she was always treated as an underrated talent, but now she can etch her name in history as the first ever Women's North American Champion. And now comes the hard work of remaining champion in WWE, especially NXT. All in all, it was a pretty solid. It was a pretty solid match. The problem that I had was that again, I said it before, I'll say it again. Any one of these 6 women could have been champion, but I feel like Michin had that match won had it not been for Jada Parker, and that's why this coming Tuesday we have the match between both Parker and Michin. But honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Kalani Jordan winning the title, but again, it could have gone either way. This was an easy 4 stars. Absolutely incredible. Not as, again, I said it before, not as impactful as NXT TakeOver New Orleans, but it was almost, it was up there. It was up there. But speaking of matches that were up there, next up is the NXT Tag Team titles between Nathan Frazer and Axiom against the OC, the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that it was going to be that the way the match went. I'm not surprised because Gallows and Anderson are probably one of the most tenured tag teams in the game. Probably, arguably one of the best. One of the best tag teams that we have in WWE right now, aside from what? From what? New Day and what? Awesome Truth and what? A-Town Down Under, both tag team champions. Gallows and Anderson are one of the best tag teams in the entire world. Like, like you can pin those two against any other tag team in the entire world in any other promotion, and Gallows and Anderson would overcome all the odds no matter what. But this time, it was not meant to be. As don't get me wrong, it was a close one, but all it took was a Spanish Fly turned into a Phoenix Splash onto Carl Anderson for Axiom and Nathan Frazer to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. Honestly, I'm not surprised that Axiom and Frazer were going to retain. I did have my doubts though, mainly because of the fact that Gallows and Anderson are indeed who they are, and that was one of the best top tier tag teams in the game. But honestly, I'm all for it. I think Frazer and Axiom retaining the titles, I think will definitely set up. It'll definitely set up a future match between both teams to where Gallows and Anderson may end up winning those titles at the end. But will it happen? Only time will tell. But all in all, absolutely solid. Definitely 3 stars. Could it have ended differently? It's possible, but I think it would just depend on how it would have played out before the actual ending actually took place. So again, it could have gone either way, but it all would have just depended. But next up, NXT Underground. Lola Vice, Shayna Baszler, former tag team partners, now bitter rivals. And funny thing is that there were quite a few UFC stars in attendance, including UFC Hall of Famer Forrest Griffin, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. Funny thing is that I feel like someone like Michael Chandler or Conor McGregor could have shown up because it was inside the Apex. But honestly, Forrest Griffin and Hill, I think his name, Trevor Hill, I think his name. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Shout outs to them, by the way. But you know about NXT Underground. You know how it works. Tap out or knock out. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. This went all over the entire ringside area, all over inside the ring. It was it was pretty chaotic, I will say. It was pretty chaotic, and we all thought that Shayna Baszler had it, but it was all for naught, as we saw Lola Vice knock out, literally TKO Shayna Baszler. But that all came about when Lola Vice practically damn near threw Baszler head first into the steel steps, and that was what pretty much did Shayna in, and also the knee that was injured earlier on in that fight. Excuse me. Honestly, pretty solid. Again, this was pretty much what you would expect with NXT Underground, because when it came to Raw Underground, Shayna pretty much just dominated. This time, it was Lola Vice that took it, and this was her second Underground match ever, and she won. She won both of them. Honestly, I feel like if that spot hadn't have happened with Shayna hitting her head on the steel steps, hands down Shayna would have won. But honestly, I think this proves that Lola Vice has proven that she belongs not just in NXT but just in WWE in general, and she proved that she's the baddest in NXT. Honestly, 3 stars. I'm gonna be a little optimistic. I'm gonna give it 3 stars, mainly because of the fact that that spot was what did Shayna in. But I feel like it couldn't. I don't think it would have gone either way. I think Lola Vice had that match won either way, in my honest opinion. But we now move into the triple threat for the NXT Men's North American title between Obafemi, Joe Coffey of Gallows, and of course Wes Lee. Crazy thing is that the last time Obafemi was in a triple threat, guess what? Stand and Deliver, Josh Briggs and Dijak. This time, it was it was an interesting one, to say the very least. You might as well call Obafemi the Brock Lesnar of NXT, because this dude just was a beast. He was a beast, and even with Gallus getting involved, it still did nothing. It did absolutely nothing whatsoever. Nothing. It did nothing because even with Gallus, Obafemi was still able to overcome all the odds. Overcome Gallus, overcome Joe Coffey, overcome Wes Lee by power bombing. Not only Wes Lee countering Meteora, but also power bombing Joe Coffey to retain the NXT North American title. And the question becomes, how the fuck do you stop a guy as dominant as Obafemi? How the hell do you stop a powerful son of a bitch like Obafemi? Honestly, I don't think you don't. That's why I said that Obafemi is the Brock Lesnar of NXT. Everyone knows that Brock Lesnar was a dominant dude, a dominant champion. Obafemi is no different. And I have no doubt in my mind that Obafemi could very may well be the guy to outshine Wes Lee's reign as NXT North American champion, which I believe, if my memory serves correct, I was right. I was right. So, at 269 days, which is crazy, which is the longest ever. The shortest was Trick Williams having held the title at 3 days, which is pretty sad, but it is what it is. I feel like when you look at the NXT North American title and you look at its rich history, you look at guys like the first ever champion Adam Cole, baby. You look at guys like Ricochet, guys like Johnny Gargano, guys like the Velveteen Dream, guys like Roderick Strong and Keith Lee and Damian Priest and Leon Ruff and Johnny Gargano. You look at all these guys, and each and every one of them held the title in their own unique way, and Wes Lee held it as a beacon of opportunity, as a beacon of the future, if you will, a beacon of hope, where as opposed to Obafemi, he's holding the title as a beacon of dominance, power, and the future. He's looking into the future of NXT, and he's wanting someone to take the title off of him. So, again, the question is, who can take it off of him? At this point, who knows? But all in all, absolutely insanity. 4 stars easy. Could it have ended differently? Yes. I feel like if Gallus hadn't have gotten involved, Wesley could have had that easy, hands down. I know that I know that some people might say might say that Joe Coffey could have had it. And don't get me wrong, yes, Joe Coffey could have won, but when it came to multi-man matches, whether it was like a ladder match or a triple threat or whatever, Wesley thrived on those types of matches as North American champion, and Wesley could have had it had it not been for Gallus. But again, that's just my opinion. But you want to talk about Kalani Jordan making history making history? We made even more history with the NXT women's title between the champion Roxanne Perez and the TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace. And I heard a lot about Jordynne Grace, and she is as advertised. There is a reason why she's known as the Juggernaut. She is a dominant chick, no cap. And if you guys don't believe me, check out what happened last week on NXT when Jordynne Grace just dominated Stevie Turner. It was insane. But this was pretty much what you would expect from two women who have never been in the ring against one another at all. This was basically the filling out process, and the moment Roxanne Perez literally thumbed Jordynne Grace in the eye, that was when the physicality started to come in, and this was pretty much back and forth. Jordynne Grace had quite a few opportunities where she came this close, but it was the last few minutes, the last couple of minutes that made all the difference. Tatum Paxley comes out, looks at the NXT women's title, and ends up taking the TNA Knockouts title, runs with it, and as she hit the stage, we saw, get this, the return of former WWE superstar, former 24/7 champion, Dana Brooke. I believe her name in TNA is, if I have this right, going on TNA's website, Ash by Elegance is her new name. And she ended up, you guys already know, there was a brawl that went on stage. Jordynne Grace comes out, takes the title, hits Tatum Paxley with the title, hits Ash by Elegance with the title, and it took Pop Rocks for Roxanne Perez to retain the NXT women's title, which honestly I feel like it was the right move, because with all of that chaos, this sets up for a few different scenarios. Either A, Roxanne Perez defending her title against another signing, another superstar that WWE signs in the form of Julia, which I believe is supposed to take place at Heatwave from what I've been hearing. It could also set up a rematch between Grace and Roxanne. It could also set up Grace and Ash for the TNA Knockouts title over on TNA, whatever pay-per-view that they got going on. Or, it could also set up Tatum Paxley versus Grace, or, and this is only a thought, if WWE was smart, if they were smart, they would do Tatum Paxley, Ash by Elegance, Roxanne Perez, Jordynne Grace, and Julia in a fatal 5-way for the NXT women's title and the TNA Knockouts title. Think about this. With that type of matchup, whoever won both titles would be making history, because they would be the only woman in professional wrestling to hold 2 titles from 2 totally different companies. which again we've seen that before in WWE. Look at what Jeff Jarrett did. He became one of the became one of the only guys to hold both the WWE Intercontinental title and the NWA World Heavyweight title back in the mid to late 90s. Which again, that right there was just history made. So if WWE was smart, that would be the match that they would book. But it would also be up to the executives over on TNA. Is it possible? Absolutely. Can it really happen? Probably not. But who knows? You never know. You never know. But all in all, just incredible. History made. History made. And I think no matter who won the match, everybody wins. I mean, everybody got to see what, something that Vince McMahon never wanted, which was TNA joining forces with WWE. Why? I don't know. But we have it now, and it's fucking awesome. This match, 4 stars easy. Not even gonna say anything more. But we move into the main event for the NXT title between Trick Williams and All Ego Ethan Page. And honestly, I'm not surprised by the fact that Ethan Page was aggressive early on in the match. Literally at the start of the bell, just pounding on Trick Williams. But it was back and forth action, absolutely chaotic. Security got taken down. Excuse me. Tables got broken down, and it was just absolutely chaotic. And just when you thought Ethan Page had it all figured out, trick shot to the face of Ethan Page by Trick Williams gives Trick Williams the victory and the NXT title, proving that he can whoop that Trick. And of course, Sexy Red, the host of Battleground, showed up to celebrate with Trick Williams, which now begs the question, what's next for Ethan Page? Because now he lost his one chance of becoming NXT champion. So what's next? What's next for Trick Williams? And who's going to step up to the challenge during this reign in the Whoop That era? Only time will tell. 4 stars easy, absolutely solid. I mean, to be fair, this was Ethan Page's NXT in-ring debut, so there was no way Ethan Page was going to win. So, all in all, absolutely solid. Honestly, this was I wouldn't say it was one of the best NXT PLEs that they've done, but this was one of the most historic. So I am going to be optimistic, and I'm going to give the entire card 4 stars 4 stars out of 5. Absolutely solid. All the matches were just as, and the fans, they were just as rowdy as they will ever become. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE, more PLE predictions and results in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be down in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.